Church hurt. We've all experienced it at one time or another. You, me, the pastor, our children, our ancestors. When we talk about church hurt, we talk about how someone else hurt me that's either in the same church I attend, a person that goes to church, or it can happen right here. Get a phone. Or it can happen right here in the church. Join us as we talk about church hurt. Have you ever experienced church hurt?
Absolutely.
I don't normally call it church hurt. I can call it people disappointment. I don't believe in church hurt because I think that it's people who hurt people, not the church itself. But I've definitely experienced people hurt.
In the church.
In the church, yes.
Welcome back to Freedom in the Word. I am Minister Lonnie Harris.
And I am Minister Sherry Knotts.
And today we want to take segment 2 of church hurt. Last week we talked about church hurt. We had a video where the members expressed that they had experienced church hurt. And so this week we want to talk about a few more things. And one of the first things we want to discuss and talk about is the effect of church hurt on the individual as well as the body of Christ. What are your thoughts, Minister Sherry?
So, as the believer, I would think it would kind of challenge your faith, right? And it also, but it's an opportunity for you to show the fruit of the Spirit.
Okay, absolutely.
Love, patience, all of those things. I would say that that's how it affects the believer. I think also now it's going to raise some people's blood pressure. Logically, it's going to raise your blood pressure.
Absolutely.
Cause you to really think and have some conversations either with that person or with the pastor, because people will quick to go to the pastor about how you've hurt them. And also it will cause you to, or should challenge you to go to the word. Okay, God, how? I know your word says to forgive, but this right here, woo. How am I supposed to really forgive this person about these set of things?
Yeah. And what do you think the effect is on the body as a whole? I mean, the individual, it's crucial, painful. It certainly affects, church hurt can certainly affect the believers, their thoughts, their actions. But what does it do for the overall scope of the body of Christ?
Well, I think that's twofold. It's kind of a loaded question because it depends on who the person is that was hurt and how involved they are in the church.
Okay.
Right? And whether or not they're new or a seasoned member. Because I think if it's somebody that's new, they might just leave the church. Now, seasoned members sometimes leave too, but I think sometimes they don't leave until they have really thrown the wrecking ball. They have, sometimes people, they're going to gossip about it. They're going to get it started. Start that phone call, like the prayer chain, where they're going to start the gossip chain and tell everybody what happened. And a lot of times they're only going to tell what the other person did, not what they did or how they responded.
Of course.
And so that begins, the smear campaign begins. And then the church will be affected because now you're starting to divide. And then so now do we need to have a meeting? What is the judicial process?
Correct.
For that. And do we really need to be tarrying on this particular subject? And then the church can suffer because is that person a tither? Does this person come to every church service? Does this person help promote things that are going on in the community, from the church? Or you know what I mean? So it affects the church in several different ways. Church hurt does.
Absolutely. I certainly agree with that, Minister Sherry. It has a huge impact on the body of Christ. As you stated, the ultimate purpose for the enemy is to bring division, as we stated in last week's video. And as long as he can continue to bring division, he can continue to sow seeds of discord. He can continue to sow seeds of malice and hatred and bitterness and backbiting and spitefulness and all of these different types of things. And so it's incumbent upon us as the body of Christ to first be, to recognize the tactics and the tools of the adversary. We have got to be wise.
That's right.
We've truly got to, we've got to have our spiritual eyes and really be discerning in the tactics of the enemy.
That's right.
When it comes to the enemy ultimately trying to divide the body of Christ.
Divide and conquer. And then also, like when you say that, I like how you say that, because a lot of times people don't give that credit to him. Wait a minute, that's the devil.
Mhm.
That ain't how Christians would,
Correct.
handle things. Come on, let's talk about this.
Yes.
Let's really see what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because it's really not, a lot of times it's not the comment that person made. Because they can't set you off unless you're already set off,
Mhm.
I would think. Especially in church, because most time we're on our best behavior when we come to church. So with that being said, I'd like to pose a question. How does that affect the person's faith?
Okay. Yeah. Here's what I've experienced in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What I've experienced in my own individual circumstances is that it does two things.
Okay.
At first, it because as you stated in the previous video last week, you said that because normally it is a person in the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone that you have confidence in, that you have trust in, that you feel comfortable around.
Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately, because it's that individual that the hurt comes from, what it does for me is, first of all, it hits hard.
Come on.
It's deflating
Mm-hmm.
that this person that unfortunately you had here in high regards, in high esteem, has now lowered themselves on the totem pole.
So they're human, right? I'm finding out they're human.
100%, they are definitely human. They are definitely human.
All right.
But I think also what it does is that it also then puts your focus off of the person, and then it should put our focus on God and on Christ to say, hey, I've got to get my eyes off of Minister Sherry, because Minister Sherry is human.
That's right.
I've got to now put my total dependency and focus on God, because I know that God, guess what? God ain't gonna backbite me.
That's
God
right.
ain't gonna talk about me.
That's right.
He will never leave me nor forsake me. So I think it's kind of a twofold answer there.
Mm-hmm. And I think also it will cause you, as I was stating, to dig deeper and to really have that faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, God, I'm hurt, and I know that you're a healer.
Yes.
You can heal me, and you can heal this situation.
Yeah.
Because at some point, maybe not today, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And, we're going to squash it and let it go.
And I think what you just stated is the most important part for when dealing with church hurt, because Matthew 18 verses 15 through 17 talks about, the reconciliation process. The Bible gives specific instructions that if a fellow believer hurts you, it says, go and tell them. So we've got to be humble enough to say, hey, listen, man, what you said to me and the way that you said it, I know I was going through some things that day and it hurt me. So we just really need to talk about it. Right. What I found to be true is a lot of times these things are never addressed. And so ultimately what we do is we continue to try to build on top of what is now a broken foundation. And so that's what's hurting, and that's what's damaging. We continue to we smile over top of it. We say, oh, hey, brother, I still love you over top of it. And we've never dealt with the underlying issues.
So we have false humbleness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not really that meek a lot of times, right? Especially when it really hits home, like you're saying. Yeah. And especially on that day when you on that last reserve nerve, right? That nerve that you had tucked all the way back there. That person dances on it. Yeah, we're not really that humble.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, how do you think that we should handle it?
I think we should handle it honestly with humility, with love. I think love for me is the answer. We've got to truly love each other on the front side.
All right.
Because if we love each other on the front side, we won't get to the church hurt part. So if we treat one another right on the front side, if we love one another on the front side, we hopefully the prayer is that we never get to the division part. We never get to the fisticuffs part. We never get to the hurt part. And so hopefully the prayer is for us to learn to love each other in spite of our flaws. Come on now. In spite of our differences. Come on. In spite of our disagreements. We can still agree and still love one another.
Is that a Christian?
It absolutely is.
All right now. You just defined the Christian. Okay, now, can we prevent church hurt?
You answer that question. Can we prevent church hurt?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I don't think you can.
Okay.
And I say that, and that's just my humble opinion, because we're human. because nobody is at the same level,
Mhm.
right? What hurts my feelings or offends me may not offend you, and vice versa.
Correct.
And then I have different ways of handling things, just like you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And I dare say some people are more mature in those areas, because I think that's degrading to say that. But I think that it depends on what you have experienced in prior to, that will help you with the possibility of the hurt.
Here's how I would respond to that. As long as we deal with human beings,
Come on, help us, Lord.
as long as we deal with human beings,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're in the church
Mm-hmm.
or outside of the church,
Yeah.
as long as we deal with our fleshly emotions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
our emotions can be hurt.
Yeah.
Our feelings can and will be hurt.
Yeah, of course.
And so it's after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens, how can we now go forward and move forward?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's and it's got to be something that happens quickly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not like you were saying, a lot of times it's not talked about, it's not, nothing's ever done. Because then, you waiting like 2 or 3 years, and it's like, I can't stand it.
Correct.
Well, why you don't like, girl, I don't even know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
For no reason at all.
Yeah.
And then the longer you wait, the more it's gonna hurt when you try to heal through and from it.
Correct.
I think that's key to know that we need to heal through and from these offenses.
Yeah.
Because it's not just for inside the church, it's for life in general encounters, right? Because we get hurt on our jobs, we get hurt in our homes,
Mm-hmm.
we get hurt in our communities, and within our families at the family reunion or something like that. So you gotta learn, you gotta have great skills and great grace to be able to heal through and from.
In closing, what are your closing thoughts?
In closing, my thoughts are that church hurt, we identified it is a real thing, and it is when the people of God hurt one another, whether they meant to do it or not. We encourage you to stay in the Word, know what the Word says about how to handle offenses, and try to do it the godly way. Now, we realize that not everybody's going to receive us
Correct.
the godly way.
Correct.
So we just encourage you to pray ahead of time and ask God to help you dealing with those situations.
Yeah. I think in my closing, I would certainly agree with your words. We're going to play some scriptures for you all to reference, dealing with healing, dealing with love, dealing with just those things that I believe should be beneficial for us, because as we continue to live in this body, as we continue day by day, the unfortunate truth is that we will experience hurt in and outside of the church. And so we have got to learn to handle it. We've got to learn how to deal with it the correct way, how to address it in love the correct way, and how to reconcile with that brother, with that sister. Because if we cannot live together in harmony on earth,
Come on.
how will we ever live together up there?
We not. We not.
Ebenezer, we love you. This is Minister Lonnie Harris.
And I am Minister Sherry Knotts.
We thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next time. God bless you.